Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the fourth in our series of seminars for the Optimising Business Broadband programme for Shropshire and Staffordshire. Today's subject is cloud-based relationship management for small businesses, and my name is Steve Morris, and I'm a director of the National B2B Centre, which is delivering these webinars on behalf of the OBB programme. This morning we're going to look at a series of things around CRM. We'll start off by looking at a definition of what CRM is. We'll follow that looking at what CRM solutions can do for businesses, in particular SMEs. We'll have a quick look at some of the benefits of cloud CRM. We'll also then look at the three possible options for hosting CRM systems, two of which on the cloud and one not. And then I'm going to show you some screenshots from a typical cloud CRM system to illustrate what those systems look like and what they can do for you. And then at the end we'll look at some implementation considerations. But before we do that, I'd like to say just a few words about the Optimising Business Broadband in Shropshire and Staffordshire programme. Bit of a mouthful, so OBB from now on. It's linked to two other programmes, one in each of the two counties. Connecting Shropshire is a £26 million programme funded mainly by Shropshire Council with some help from BT and BD UK, which aims to give 93% of premises in the Shropshire County Council area access to the fibre-based broadband by spring of 2016. With everyone in the area being able to get a minimum of 2 megabits per second. Superfast Staffordshire covers the other county. It's a £27 million programme funded in the same way, and by spring 2016 they are looking to get 97% of premises in the county access to superfast broadband, with all premises in the area receiving a minimum of 2 megabits. If you want to know more, both have websites, so the addresses are on the slide there, and you can follow both of them on Twitter. The OBB project specifically is a European funded project based around Staffordshire and Shropshire and running at the moment until June 2015. Its aim is really to demonstrate to businesses the benefits of using fibre broadband and encourage them to take it up. Obviously, people are spending money putting superfast broadband in. It's important that that is taken up by businesses. The support on the programme is in 4 areas. The first one is raising awareness, which is really around events. There have already been a series of events. Maybe you've been to some of them. The next two, in case you're interested, the next one is on the 18th of November in Trenton, Staffordshire, and is around email marketing. And the one after that on the 20th of November in Bridgnorth and is around search engine optimization. The second element is around practical learning. This webinar is a part of that. Also, you will find on the website that there are a number of articles and toolboxes that you can use to help you in a number of subject areas that will help use broadband. The third is face-to-face support. A number of businesses within each county will get around a day of free support from a technical expert to help them understand and implement technologies that where they can gain from using broadband. Option 4 is follow-up and specialist training. That isn't fully defined yet and will become available a little bit later in the programme. Again, if you want to know more, there's a website, www.optimisingbusinessbroadband.co.uk, and you can follow on Twitter at OBBShropStaffs. So let's move on to CRM. First of all, what is CRM? Customer Relationship Management, as defined by Gartner, is a business strategy whose outcomes optimise profitability, revenue and customer satisfaction by organising around customer segments, fostering customer satisfying behaviours and implementing customer-centric processes. To some extent, only Gartner could have come up with something that complicated, but the key word is very much, or the key ideas in there are very much around CRM being a business process and strategy which looks at your customers, breaks them into key segments and allows you to address each of those segments. Nowadays, when people talk about CRM, most of them are actually not talking about the business process, but about CRM software. And Gartner's definition there is that it addresses customer lifecycle management business processes. So that's everything from finding the customer in the first place, right the way through to at least the point of sale, and in many cases further, and provides functionality to enterprises in the three key areas of sales, marketing and customer service through collaborative, operational and analytic components. So what can a CRM solution do? As I said, to me, CRM is really about managing business processes around the customer. In this particular instance, I think the process is cyclic, and this particular slide, which builds, illustrates that process. It starts, I guess, right at the beginning with marketing. CRM systems can help you manage marketing, particularly through things like managing outbound calls, email marketing, managing campaigns, and increasingly now with some of the newer systems, social media campaigns. The point of that is either to find leads, or if you've got leads, to manage that. So typically you might buy a database of a few hundred or a few thousand leads, depending on what you do, put those into your CRM system, and the first thing you might do is make either telephone calls or emails to those, and try and identify which of those leads are actually interested in your product or service. So the idea then is you start with a large volume of leads, and you can reduce that by marketing processes so that you've got a lower volume of qualified opportunities. And at that point, typically those leads will move into the sales department. Certainly in a larger company. In many small companies, it will be the same person doing all of that. I suppose I should say at this point that obviously this process is different within every company, depending on what you're selling, whether you've got a service or a product, and how. But you know, the principles I think hold true across all companies. So we've now moved what we're calling a qualified opportunity into sales, and within the opportunity management area in CRM, we can look at the pipeline. I'll talk about that a little bit more later on, in terms of well, really, what stage is each opportunity at? You know, what's the next thing that needs to be done? Have they had a quote? What's the likelihood of them actually buying from you, and so on? And that in itself then leads into forecasting, and the forecasting obviously allows you to predict what your workload is likely to be in your business over weeks and months into the future, which can allow you to do things like, you know, work out whether you need more people, whether you've got the facilities to deliver things. Once you've made a sale, that truly is the point where a lead has become a customer. Some people will take that point as being, you know, before the sale is actually made. And CRM solutions can help you manage quotes and proposals, depending on the type of system that you get. Some of those will be simply Word documents and store those documents. Others might actually have facilities in them to allow you to create a quote or a proposal within the software. The solution can also, CRM solutions can also manage orders. So, you know, when you've got an order, it changes the status of that within the CRM system, and allows you to pass that on to someone to deliver within your organisation. It can also manage invoices. Most systems are not integrated with finance packages, so it usually means you've got to type the data into your Sage system or your QuickBooks system, whatever that is, but at least you can raise that within the CRM package, and it keeps all of your information in a single place. So once the sale has been made, you move into customer care and delivery and support of the client, and CRM systems can look after that area too. It can manage issues with customers. A lot of people, a lot of bigger companies anyway, have call centers, call software which can be part of the CRM system. There are workflow processes that can manage that, and so on. So eventually what happens if your customer is happy is customer care will hopefully remove you back into, as I said, round through the loop, back into marketing or sales through retention of customers and hopefully referrals and repeat business. So just a headline there really, I think, or a quick walk through the business processes that CRM solutions can help manage. And the key thing, I guess, within a CRM solution is that they are really all databases, and the key element of that database is having all of your data about every particular customer in a single place. So the data about the company itself, the people that you deal with within that company, the orders that they've had before, the quotes, what have they ordered, what have they not ordered. So everything is in a single place and allows you and your entire team to understand what the current situation is with each individual customer. So, what kind of business issues can CRM help you resolve? One of the key ones, I think, from our point of view, in terms of when people talk to us about buying CRM systems, is companies that have perhaps lost control and visibility of their sales pipeline. It often happens with small businesses as they move from the point where one person is doing sales to two people doing sales. So when you need to bring in a salesman, and whoever is the sales manager needs to manage the process of sales a bit more tightly. The second thing is that CRM systems can help the entire business be aware of the relationship and the status of the relationship with the customer. An example of that might be if you're a salesman, you're on the road, you're about to go in and visit a customer and make a large sale, you may not be aware that that customer hasn't paid his bills and is actually on his credit limit. So if you make the sale, there could be a problem there. So one benefit of being on the cloud and being able to look at CRM systems out of the office as well will be that the sales guy can have a look at that before he goes in, whether he's in his car or a hotel the night before, actually understand that issue and address it. A lot of people use CRM to try and improve on customer experience, try and generate from that customer satisfaction and loyalty by simply gaining a much better understanding of what's actually going on with each individual customer and what's making them happy and not. A lot is said in marketing about being able to segment customers. CRM systems give you the capability to do that. Against each customer, you can identify all sorts of factors which are specific to a customer. So obviously their address, so you know geographically where they are. You can look at their industry sector if that's important to you. You can identify what particular customers have bought from you. What that allows you to do then is to create segmented lists of customers with a particular range of qualities. So you may want to do a mail out to customers who've bought one of your products within the last 6 months. You should be able to create a list with a good CRM system that's been well engineered that will allow you to do that. The CRM system, as the next point alludes to, will also allow you in many cases to actually manage marketing campaigns. Not all of them, and particularly some of the smaller, cheaper ones that SMEs tend to use for, can actually manage email marketing. But if you can create the list and export it to, for instance, MailChimp or Outlook, then you can do email marketing through that route. Other issues which CRM helps resolve: customer data held in many places. It's often true that a business has got several sets of data about its customer. There is one set in its finance system. The salesman may have some in his little black book or his laptop or whatever he uses to manage that. Each salesman might have different elements of that. CRM can bring all that together so that everything is in one place and everybody has the same level of data. A lot of companies without CRM find it difficult to report on, particularly on sales and marketing issues. All CRM systems have reporting capabilities in there of varying qualities, which allow you to produce some kind of report on how the sales pipeline is going, how you're performing against targets, etc. Another issue is not following up leads. I had a slightly strange story a few years back where I went to a company that were effectively an estate agent providing accommodation for students in Coventry. the process for students who were looking for accommodation was to phone up. Whoever answered the phone in the office would create a yellow sticky with the student's phone number on, and one of the directors would phone those students back. Unfortunately, that office was on the corner of a windy street, and every time the door opened, those sticky labels used to get blown around the office. A number of them got lost. It's a trivial case, but there are many other examples, and it may well have happened in your business where, for whatever reason, leads get lost and not followed up. If they're in your CRM system, they're a little bit harder to ignore. Poor sales conversions rates. CRM can help you perhaps identify who does buy, who doesn't buy your particular products. Maybe if you've got several sales guys, who's good at selling what and why. So there's a few business issues anyway that CRM can help you resolve. So what are the benefits of cloud CRM? I've said cloud CRM. It really makes no difference whether it's in the cloud or not. There are specific benefits and issues around the cloud. But one of the key ones is that there are often lower upfront costs. We at the B2B Centre use a CRM system where we basically pay a monthly fee for the two of us that use the system. There were no other costs involved in setting that system. We didn't have to buy a server, we didn't have to pay, and we don't have to pay annual licenses, we don't have to pay any annual maintenance. So all we pay is, and I think it's $12 per person per month. There are also lower operating costs, as I've just said. You don't need to have a server, you don't need to maintain it, you don't need to keep the software up to date. That's all done by someone else, so the costs are low. Rapid implementation. This one can be a little bit of a red herring. I mean, yes, typically once you've paid your $12 a month or whatever it is, your software is there and it's available to you. But you still have to do all of the things that you would do with any other system to set it up to work the way in which you want to set up the process that you might follow in going from leads through to opportunities, qualifying those opportunities and the things in your pipeline. So yes, you can get started very, very quickly. You haven't got to upload software from disks or onto a server or whatever, but the configurability still needs to be done. Scalability is another clear benefit of cloud software. If we wanted to add a third person to our CRM system, we would simply ask for that to be done, start to pay another $12 a month, and we will get a third person. The same will be true if you want to go downwards. You simply stop paying for that third person. So it's a very, very scalable product, as opposed to having to buy a new license where you typically perhaps get 5 people on the first license when there's only 2 of you, but when you get to wanting the 6th person, you have to buy a license for 10, as has typically happened. Updates and upgrades cease to be an issue with most cloud systems because they're all managed by whoever operates the system within the cloud. They will update and upgrade the software as and when. You will probably not know, apart from getting an email that tells you that it's been upgraded and telling you what the new functionality is. So very, very easy. Improved accessibility, mobility, usability. Cloud software typically available anywhere you want on any device, so whether that's on your mobile phone or a tablet or whatever. Very, very useful for sales teams who are out and about on the road a lot. Improved system availability. Basically the uptime of a server in the cloud is usually very, very close to 100%. If it does go down, they've usually got backup systems that they click in very, very quickly, so system availability is very high. Whereas if you have a server in the corner of your office, if that goes down, it may take you hours if you need to get someone out to reboot it and help. So let's have a look at the 3 different options for hosting running CRM systems, true for most systems. But, 3 options are either cloud or hosted or on-premise, and I need to explain what those are. Cloud is the one that I've just explained, where you pay a monthly fee, usually per user. Hosted is where you effectively rent server space in the cloud, but you still own the software. You put the software onto your server and you manage it. And the on-premise is the what now seems quite old-fashioned way, perhaps, of having a server in the corner, and you install the software and you have all of the maintenance issues around that. So let's have a look at some of the pros and cons over the next two slides. The direct costs, we've probably talked about most of those. There are lower upfront costs with the cloud. They're slightly less with a hosted system because you, as I say, you still would have to pay to buy the license, but you're paying sort of a monthly rental then for your hardware. Operating costs, efforts, we've talked about that for the cloud system as well. Those are lower, but you still have to do the managing of your own software, which means you would need someone in your business with the technical skills to do that. Subscription fees, there aren't any on the cloud apart from the standard monthly fee, whereas online fees you've often got to pay for the on-premise versions. You need to have people who can support that. You would need to pay annual fees for updates and support by telephone or web. On the competitive advantage side, cloud systems are very, very scalable. Hosted systems still scalable, but in the sense that you can probably fairly readily get more server space if you want to for an additional fee. But if you want to scale the software itself, then you would need to buy another license for more people. Rapid implementation, I've kind of already mentioned this one and said be a little bit careful, but yes, it probably is quicker to do it with the cloud, slightly more quicker than doing it on-premise if it's hosted. Requirement for IT technical resources, the best there will be the cloud one. You still need to understand how your CRM software works because there'll be things you need to do to set it up and make it work for you. Where for hosted and on-premise, you'll need pretty much all of the technical resources for either option that you'd need for the on-premise one. Independence of CRM provider, you have whatever choice you like within the cloud and within the hosted system. Once you've committed to a CRM on an on-premise system, there are issues probably around being able to change from that if you ever felt you needed to. Functionality side, there is an argument that says that cloud systems are functionally less rich. That's particularly true if you take the lower cost versions of cloud implemented systems. They will often offer perhaps a free version of the software for you to trial or for you to use, but it will be functionally reduced. It may be reduced in terms of perhaps the number of leads or customers that you can have, whereas with hosted and on-premise systems, those will be pretty much unrestricted. Bug fixes and new functionality, difficult to do with hosted and on-premise. You will probably need to do it yourself. There will be service packs and things that you need to run. As I've said, with cloud, that's just not a problem. Accessibility and usability, cloud systems accessible from anywhere. Hosted systems, they can be too, a little more difficult. You've got to arrange that, and on-premise ones often difficult to access from anywhere outside the office. Integration and customization, this is where the cloud systems start to lose out. If you want to integrate your CRM system with other solutions in your business, typical one might be email marketing software or your finance system. It's often very, very difficult to do with cloud systems. In fact, it's close to impossible in some instances. With a hosted system, that becomes much, much easier. And with the on-premise system, then obviously you can integrate that with your other on-premise solutions as long as you've got the technical capability to within your business to do that. Okay, just some figures here from CompTIA about how cloud-based systems use is increasing. If you look at the lower end of the figures, in 2012, more than 50% of companies had less than 30% of their IT systems operating in the cloud. Within a year, that had changed to around about 40%, so a big change there. And clearly, at the other end of the graph, excuse me a minute, at the other end of the chart, the number of companies who have, up 60 to 100% of their systems in the cloud is increasing very rapidly. So I said I would introduce you to and show you some examples of a cloud system. The system I'm going to show you is a package called Vtiger. It's actually available in all three formats. You can have it on the cloud as we do. You can have it on a hosted system, or you can have it on-premise within your own business. They have recently changed so that there are now three options. It used to be there was just Vtiger and that was it. They now have one which has a sales focus, another which has a support focus, often not an issue for, I think, for the smaller business, but if you do have a business where a lot of your work is providing services to customers on an ongoing basis, then that one's there. And the ultimate, I think, covers probably both of those two and a bit more. In both of those cases, all of those cases, rather, you can try any of those editions free for 15 days. And the screenshots I'm going to show you from over the next few minutes are actually from a free version of that rather than from our own live version. So this is what you see when you log on to Vtiger. The first page you get is a login page, which gives you a secure login, the usual username and and a secure password, and that brings you into a home page. I should say probably at this point that the reason I'm using Vtiger is not because I think it's the best system or the cheapest system. It's a good system. I know it quite well, but the way it works is very much like other systems. So most other CRM systems, whether cloud or not, you would log on in the same way and you would come into your home page. And that home page typically is something that you can configure to suit what you want. So here we've got 4 graphs showing. One shows leads by source, another by status, another is the top opportunities that are going, and another is the current sales funnel. Depending on your organization and how big you are, you could have those by individual, so it could be my leads by source or my department's leads by source. And there are usually lots of options that you can configure to have your home page do what you particularly want. The sales pipeline, I think, is an interesting one here. Some people call it a funnel, other people call it a pipeline, and it's really just a question of whether you draw it vertically or horizontally. But what it typically shows is what is going on in your business in terms of sales, sometimes marketing, and the volume or value at each of those. So you can see on this chart, the top is at the value proposition stage. There are a number of projects going on there. You'd normally expect to see a value or a number. In fact, I think there is a number, but it's got lost. So it's number 1. The second stage, there will be opportunities where the decision maker is being ID'd. There's only one of those. The third stage will be people where you've actually produced a proposal or a quote. And the last stage typically will be negotiation and review. And you can do that for your business. You can do that by department if you're big enough to have departments, so that you've got some idea of the flow, what's going on in your business. Obviously a good planning tool. What I'd also like to do while I'm here, I think you can see my mouse. If we look along the top, like most pieces of software, there are a number of options that you can click on. Can't do this live, obviously, because they're screenshots. All CRMs have a calendar, which allow you to plan things and share things with your colleagues. The next one along is leads, and going back to the process chart that I was showing you earlier, that's the start of the system. Typically leads come in and are then managed through. They get managed through to here, which is opportunities. When you develop an opportunity, you start to talk about organizations, so they are the companies that you are dealing with, the companies where you have opportunities. You could call them your customers if you want, though you may not have actually yet made a sale to them. There's a contacts tab as well. Contacts are people. People in this instance can be allocated and linked to an organization. So you can have one organization, but you can have a number of contacts. It might be the MD, a salesman, someone in the finance department, depending on what sort of stage you're at. The opportunities, that's a list of all the opportunities that are currently ongoing with some details. I'll show you that page in a minute, and the leads one. I think I mentioned earlier that you can also store documents, so things like proposals and quotes can be stored in there. Invoices in many cases are treated as documents. Key emails can be brought in and stored, and so on. And this particular system has a mail manager as well, which allows you to manage email campaigns. So that list of headings goes across the entire system. It's common to every page. We've also got here search options that we can use, and I accidentally clicked that because I'm used to it being real. So the first page I was going to show you really was the leads page. Leads are very much within most CRM systems treated as people rather than as organisations. So here we've got a guy called Grant Matthews from a company called Delta. This job is assigned to me because it's me that registered the product. And below that there are so this page is a list of all of the leads that are currently open within the system, within your business. And what you can do is you can click on each one for details. When you do, you get this page. So different person here, we've got Professor Susan Wilson, and there's a detail page here which gives a lot of information about her and her business. So we've got her company name, email, her telephone, the website, who it's assigned to, the address. If we click on show full details, which I can't do, there's a lot more information in there that you can put in. You can just see at the bottom of the page there's a box in most cases for free format comments. So there's space to put in there, what the lead is about, whether she's interested in buying something or where the lead came from or whatever. And we've also got within every CRM system the capability to create activities. So if Susan is a lead, the next thing might be that you're going to send her an email or an e-flyer, or you might make a telephone call. You can record that in here, and you can actually assign that to somebody else. So if you want someone in your marketing organisation to send a brochure, you can set that there. Up here on this page, there are the edit button will allow you to get in and show and see all the full details and do all of the editing. Once you've spoken to or contacted a lead and that particular lead has showed some interest in your products, what we do is convert that lead. It's a term that's used in most CRM systems. It basically makes the change from that being a lead into an opportunity, which allows someone in the sales department to go out and sell to it. If we move on to the next slide, when you click on that convert button, it comes up with this page and it does a number of things. The first thing it will do is create an organization. So at this point, the lead is purely people-based, based around one person. When you convert it, it will create a record of the organization. So the business that that person works for, that opportunity exists in. It will also create a contact, or it can. If you untick that box, it won't. So Susan will appear then as a contact within the list of contacts at the top here, but actually attached to her organisation. You also have the opportunity to create an opportunity if you want to. You can give it a name. We're back to Delta here. You can put in an expected close date. The drop-down box here gives you a number of options which you can edit yourself and call them what you like to reflect your pipeline. This one we're saying is at the proposal or price quote stage, and we're hoping to get £3,000 if we actually make that sale. So on to the next page. As I said, we create an organisation. When you click on the organisation link here, you will get a list that looks like, if you remember what we looked at when we opened the list, so simply a list of organisations, one line per organisation. When you click on that, you come into this detail page, and you can see there is all sorts of information here that you might want about the company. Not all of this is standard. You can go in here and you can change it. So if you want to, if there are information about each particular customer that you've got that is special to you, maybe what product they've used and bought, maybe how big they are, no, that's actually there. But the range of things that you might want to segment your customers by, you can create new subjects here, new options, and record against those as well. Obviously the address details are here. Most of them have space for at least 2 addresses, the main address for invoices, the delivery address. A lot of the bigger systems, incidentally, will have the opportunity to have several different addresses, several different locations for an organisation. So if you're dealing with a business which operates out of a number of locations, you can record all of those against that. Next, we've got the opportunity itself. So the opportunity here with Delta, as I said, it was valued at around, we hope, £3,000. We're at the proposal stage. We've still got the lead source, where that came from and when it was created. There would normally be a description in here of exactly what the lead is and what's going on, and opportunities as well. But if you click on the edit to create activities against that and move that on and understand where it is. An interesting one too is the probability in here. I didn't put a number in, but you can obviously put in a percentage between sort of 0 and 100, and that will give you a forecast amount. So if we were to put in here that the probability is 25%, I can't do 25% in my head, but it'd be about, what, £750. And within your pipeline that we looked at on your home page, you can then have a look at sort of the entire pipeline and look at the predicted value of the pipeline. So for each stage in that pipeline, you could have a different probability, and that will build up to what your predicted turnover might be over a period of time. Okay. Bad news, I think, with CRM systems, and it's true of all systems, but CRM for some reason is particularly difficult, is that the benefits are not guaranteed. They can be quite difficult systems to implement sometimes, and this pie chart shows against a number of solutions, not just CRM solutions, sort of the percentage of projects that actually, how much of the benefits they actually achieve. And you can see sort of only 8% achieve 80 to 100% of the benefits that were projected, and a good nearly 50% achieve, well under 50% of the projected benefits. And that's common across a lot of IT projects, and we can talk for some time on why that might be. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but it has been said that some 50% of CRM projects actually fail to achieve their desired outcomes. So why do they fail? One of the reasons often is that the strategy for the project doesn't actually meet the business strategy. It might be that the board are looking to drive the business to, I don't know, what should we say, to launch a new product, and that's the key business strategy strand at the moment, whereas the marketing or sales department might be putting in a CRM system purely with the view to increase sales. If those things don't gel, it can be very difficult to make your CRM project work. I guess related to that, a lack of clarity around project objectives. It's quite key to write down at the beginning why you're doing the project, what you expect to achieve, because only that way will you know whether you do achieve that. Lack of support from users, often not their fault, often because they're not informed as to why the CRM system is going in. CRM systems, when they go in, often require people to work in different ways, not least because they're using a piece of software, but possibly to record information about a customer which doesn't really mean anything much to them personally, but might be relevant to someone else in the business. So it's important to try and bring in support from the users. I'll talk about that again a little bit later on. The converse can also be true, lack of support from executives. I've seen systems where perhaps marketing wanted to put it in, but sales weren't too keen, and vice versa. It is key that certainly someone at the very top of the organisation is the evangelist for the system, if you like, is supporting it at board level. And without that, it can be very, very difficult to have a successful system. Users not involved in the project, which is another reason why lack of support from users happens. Users are the people who are going to decide to some level whether the system is successful or not. They're the people that will use the data, they're the people that will keep the data up to date. So they need to be involved right from the very beginning in terms of, in the first case, the executive saying why the CRM is important to the business, how it fits with the business strategy. And in the second instance, actually asking the users how they would want the system to work. How could it improve their job? How could it be used to make their lives easier? And if you involve them early on at that point, and keep them involved right the way through the project in terms of helping with the selection of the solution and so on, then you've got more chance of making it work. I've said that the CRM is very much process driven. There is little point in spending money on a CRM system which purely automates the business processes that you are currently using. You probably wouldn't consider one without there being some problem in a process that you wanted to address. So it's key really that processes are redesigned, and it sounds a little trivial, but it's relatively simple that you need to define what your current process is and sit down with your users and identify what's wrong with that process and how a CRM system could make that better. Probably not applicable to most SMEs, but a good reason for CRM project failure is that the solution starts to become led by your IT department rather than by sales or marketing, the departments that will, and the executives that will actually use it. It's just one of those things, it doesn't work. I'm not saying IT shouldn't be involved, it's almost essential that they are if you have an IT department, but they should not be the leaders. Choosing the wrong system and or partner to implement that system, that's just one of those things to some extent. But if you carry out a structured process, a structured project that looks at the processes, looks at the redesign processes, understands the data that you need, then there is less chance of that happening. But if it does happen, then there's a good chance of failure. This one's my favourite, and I have to say it tends to be the one for the reason perhaps why CRM systems fail in smaller businesses more, because they simply just buy a solution and put it in. There's a tendency perhaps to think, I need a CRM system to solve this problem. I'll talk to this business. They sell CRM systems, and they will in most cases sell you their system even if it's not the right one for you. It's even easier on the cloud because you can go to a website, find one you can get involved for free. It needs a little bit of thought up front, I guess is what I'm saying, in a project, a managed project. So why is it so difficult? I've probably answered some of those in talking through some of the previous slides. But CRM is about business, it's not about the technology. You need to understand your business, what you need to change, what you want to change and improve in your business, so that you can choose the right piece of technology. These initiatives can be very, very challenging. They're not simple. From the screenshots that I've showed you, you can see that there is a massive amount of data potentially within a CRM system. A business needs to be very clear about what data they want, how they're going to use it, and so on. Before they do that, and they often need consulting support, expert support to be able to do that and manage it properly. No software is perfect. Whatever system you buy, it will have strengths, it will have weaknesses, there'll be trade-offs. You need to try and find the one that will do the maximum amount of the things that you must have and would like to have. Okay, so what I'm saying is that, as the next point says, there is no one-size-fits-all strategy. There are some cheap CRM systems out there, particularly on the cloud, which have quite limited functionality. For very small businesses, they might be absolutely perfect. but it needs to be thought about. Adequate organisational and change management, as I've said, there will be changes. Most people in your organisation, certainly in the office side of your organisation, will be involved in a CRM project, will perhaps need to use the CRM solution. Those people need to be aware that the system is coming. They need to know how their job will change. They need to be trained. You need to understand whether they have the relevant IT skills in the first place. So yeah, people, change management and organising that is very important. 3 pillars of success, and this is something which the B2B Centre are very keen on. We believe that there are these 3 pillars for any IT project that leads to success, and it's people, it's process, and it's technology. Many IT projects, I think particularly within the smaller business, tend to be led by the technology rather than by the other issues, and in my view the people and the process are actually usually more important than the technology. They at least need to be considered first. So let's have a look at each of them in turn. The technology issues, basically there are 2, which is which software, which CRM solution are you going to buy, and another issue is around the infrastructure. So how are you going to run it? Do you want it to be in the cloud? Does it, for whatever reason in your business, need to be hosted, or are you more comfortable with having it on premise? Processes. You need to think about what you currently do, what you need to improve, and how you can use CRM to improve that. So as I've said, document your current process is a very good thing to do, and then decide how that needs to change and improve, and then find a CRM system that will meet that new process. On the people side, I've talked about this a good bit anyway, but probably the first and simple thing to do is to think about who in your organisation is actually going to use the system. What are they going to use it for? Think about how you can involve them in the project. If they're involved in the project, there is much more likelihood that they will buy in when the solution is actually installed and they're asked to use it. Also need to think, as I've said, about clear management commitment. Are there executives in larger organisations that are supporting this? And is there someone who can actually lead that through to do it? So yes, in my view, with CRM systems, people are probably the key part of success, process second, and technology third. Not necessarily true for all types of IT projects. And that, I think, is pretty much what I wanted to say this morning. So thank you very much for attending. Just a reminder again that this is part of the Optimising Business Broadband in Shropshire and Staffordshire programme. There are a number of elements of support that you can get through that programme, from events, other webinars, documents, articles, etc. on the website. So please do take a look, and if you're interested, sign up via the website for more support. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.